Hi there, Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome to this video where we are going to talk about how to take your rhythm chops, your rhythm ideas, and fills or lead ideas and kind of combine them together. Now, I'm basing this around a certain ideal, and that is that there is a vocal going on. Now, in my little demonstration before, I had the vocal just sort of going on in my head, but for our demonstrations, I'm actually going to go ahead and sing it for you so that you can hear how it goes. Really, the main thing about combining rhythm and lead is to not step on the singer. That's pretty much all it boils down to. Blues is very call and response based, so you can think of the singer or the vocal as the call, and you can think of the guitar as the response. It's actually pretty much about that easy. Now, the one major thing that I will tell you, and I mentioned this in a previous video, is stay off beat 1. And you'll notice that the vocal lines often either have a little pickup or they start after beat 1. So that's something that you should try and emulate in your own playing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to kind of walk you through how I figure out where that lead is supposed to go in relation to the rhythm part. Now, what I'm going to start with is just kind of a basic blues in G. Okay, so just like what I was playing a minute ago, and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4, and just a real simple rhythm idea. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, or a little. Some of, you can use all those little rhythm ideas that we used in the previous example. In fact, if I play just that, it kind of keeps time nicely for me. So I'm going to use that because that'll sort of even keep the low end moving. It's a nice thing when you're playing by yourself. So if I add some vocal to that, 2, 3, I went to the depot, looked out on the board. I went to the depot, looked up on the board. Said good times here, better on down the road. When I do it that way, it seems to make pretty good sense. You can kind of hear where things are supposed to go. So let's talk about though what is actually going on there. You'll notice that when I sing, I'm done by the end of the second bar. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 3, 4, and. Okay, so I'm kind of done right at the end of that second bar. So all I got to do as to answer that is, again, bar 3 comes in, let beat 1 go by, and then I'm just going to pick any little thing. Now, if you're stuck with an idea, one thing that always works is to sort of emulate the vocal melody. Okay, so in this case, and this is something that I'll get to in probably in the next video, but it's you'd be surprised how easy it is to emulate most vocal melodies. But in this case, it's very simple. It's all right here in box 1. So if we take box 1 in the key of G minor, and I just go to the middle of it at the G on the 5th fret of the 4th string, went to the depot. It's just 5, 5, 3, 5, and then up to the 3rd fret on the 3rd string. Went to the depot, and then it's just walked down the scale from the D. Looked up on the board, and I'm just going down the pentatonic box 1. But notice that there's a nice rhythm there. There's there's a nice flow. There's a melody. There's everything you might need. So if you want to kind of copy that in your reply, your answer, it'll sound really cool. Went to the depot, looked up on the board. I went to the depot, looked up just kind of doing, you know, variations on that melody and on that rhythm. It's not a perfect replica, but it shouldn't be. You know, you're trying to manipulate it ever so slightly, okay? So you can hear that what we basically have going on, 2 bars of vocal, 2 bars of response, 2 bars of vocal, 2 bars of response, 2 bars of vocal, 2 bars of response. Now, lest you think that that only happens in that style of blues, couldn't be further from the truth. Let's take a slow blues. I'm going to stay in G. It's a nice easy key, but let's say we're doing, you know, just a down. We're doing this kind of thing, right? So it's hard to love someone when that someone don't love you. And there was 2 bars. So what am I going to do? Said it's hard to love someone. And I just moved right into the next part of the changes. Okay, so the first thing that I had going on was, you know, the 1 chord. And then the 4 chord, it's a quick change, and then back to the 1 chord for 2 bars. Well, when the singing came in again, that was the 4 chord. It's just going through that same 12-bar form every time. So again, I'm doing 2 bars of singing, 2 bars of reply, 2 bars of singing, 2 bars of reply, 2 bars of singing, 2 bars of reply. It happens all the time. What if we were doing something with a straight feel? What if you're doing something like Crossroads? Okay, so I'll do it like that. Went down to the crossroads, fell down on my knees. Well, there's bar 3 again, and guess what? It's time to do my fill. Down to the crossroads, fell down on my knees. I beg the Lord above for mercy, help me if you please. You know, it's the same thing. 2 bars of rhythm, 2 bars of lead. 2 bars of rhythm, 2 bars of lead. All right, so if we put the band together with that, nothing really changes at all. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to basically just play, and I'll go ahead and sing as well, so you can hear how it all goes together. But I'm going to use the same kind of mid-tempo jam track in G that I used in my previous video. And what I'm going to do now is you'll notice that I'm going to play a rhythm, some rhythm figure. I might use this one, but I'll probably use the little 2-note chords a lot. And the simple reason is that that's easy for me to do while I'm singing, so I tend to use that a lot. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to use that rhythm figure most of the time. I'll try and change it up if I can think of it. And between the vocal lines, I'm just going to do a fill. And when it's all done, I'll transcribe it and you know, put the tab below so you can see exactly what I've done. But I would encourage you, more so than just learning based off of the tab, try it for yourself. Now, if you're not a singer, that's okay. It really doesn't matter. In your own mind, you just kind of have to be thinking about just kind of hum it, you know, just keep that going in your head, and then when it's time, throw a lead in, okay? And if you do it along with me, and you're playing when I'm singing, then you know something's not right. So that should be, it'll be obvious very soon. But that's a really easy way to get used to the difference between when to do rhythm and lead. Now, if you do it without the band, that's actually really killer, because then you are taking responsibility for the beat on your own. And I think that's one of the most important things that you can do. So I'm just going to kind of go for it once and see what comes out. And I will, like I said, I'll transcribe it. But let's try it out. I'll do a couple choruses. Check it out. Yeah, I went to the depot, looked up on the board. I went to the depot, looked up on the board. Said good times here, better on down the road. I went to the depot, looked up on the board. Depot, looked up on the Better on down the road. All right, so you can see that basically, again, the vocals always lasted for 2 bars, and then my fill went for 2 bars, and then the vocal went for 2 bars, and I just